Buddy, I don't see where I can make comments. Okay, I just wanted to make a comment here about this video. What this video is about is more love in the world from Love Buddy. This is lovebuddy.com. So right now I'm sharing, I'm updating the description. Anyway, what can love do for us? What's the big deal about love? And why do I harp on love so much? Why is it an interesting thing? Well, the reason why love is an interesting thing to me, the reason why I find it so significant, so important, so world-changing, when you really understand what love is, it's the key to a better world. It's the key to a better life. It's the key to having everything that you want. And it's the key to having a happy life. It's the key, especially to a foundation in life. So let's see, now it looks like I can write a comment here. So why is it, when I was old enough to start thinking it, old enough to start understanding what life is about, and that I was a person, and this is how the world works. And my parents would take me to church. I was baptized a Catholic, and the parents would take me to church, and they talk about God, and I thought, wow, okay, so my goal in life to be happy is to serve God, and I want to serve the only God that I knew, because that's all I was exposed to. So I wanted to serve the Catholic God. So what I did as a kid was I got some holy water from the church, which is water that's blessed by the priest, and supposedly this water is special water because the priest says a prayer over the water, and so that makes it special. And then you can he can put it on your forehead and do different stuff with it. So we had Lego blocks. Lego blocks were kind of a new toy, and I was crazy about Lego blocks, and I was always playing with them. So I built this little altar. I built this little place to worship in my closet in my bedroom, and I put some holy water in there, in this little Lego block altar that I made, this little holy place that I made, and I would pray to it. Because why? Because I wanted to be more holy. Why? Because that was, serving God. Why? Because that's what life, I thought, was about. Well, when it came time to get older and analyze as an adult what was going on with the church, how the church was helping people, how it wasn't helping people, we did some cool things. We did some good things for community. I know they would have can drives, and that was when we would take extra cans of food from our pantry, from the cupboard that we didn't want. It wasn't usually the good stuff. It was just stuff that maybe was sitting there, we didn't want it. So we would donate that, and then they would give that to the poor people in the neighborhood. So that was kind of a nice thing about being a part of the Catholic Church in Chicago at the time. But once I got a little older, my brother joined Jehovah's Witnesses. Somebody knocked on his door, sold him a book, or told him about a book, and he started studying, and then he decided to embrace Jehovah's Witnesses. So when my brother became a Jehovah's Witness, then he started telling me about it, sending me letters in the mail and asking me to question, wow, Catholicism, is that really the way to go? Is that really serving God, or is that not serving God? So the Jehovah's Witnesses have this idea about Christendom, and Christendom is all the Christian religions that are not true. They don't serve Jehovah. They don't use the name Jehovah, and Jehovah is God's name according. Anyway, long story short, after several religions later, looking for the way to live a life that was a life that's contributing to humanity, a life that's a meaningful life, and I think we're all looking for a meaningful life. So after so many religions, it dawned on me one day on my birthday that I turned 25 by total coincidence, I think. But it was a strange thing that happened, and then I had this breakthrough, and I realized that, wow, it's not about religion. Religions are man's ideas, and they don't really change a person. You've got bad people going to a religion, you've got good people going to a religion, and really the common denominator is people that want to do good, people that want to be good in this world, people that want to do good things, people that understand This world isn't for me, only for me to exploit, for me to take everything I can from the world. That's not what the world is about. The world is about us sharing. The world is about, if I help someone, I feel good, they feel good, and it makes the world a better place. But what's the foundation for what? What's the philosophy for that? How do we know which church, which religion, which philosophy to go by? Should we be like a staunch atheist and say there is no God? I know there is no God until you prove it to me. Well, the gods that I've heard about, the gods that I've been introduced to, there seems to be no evidence for there. Okay, Hussam, religion is there to organize and create some kind of rules to follow and live a better life. Yeah, I think that could be one of the really great things about religion. I think a lot of people, they need this framework, right? They need this structure. They need this strategy. They need a way to approach life. And what I found from the religions that I saw was sometimes that's helpful, sometimes that's not. Sometimes people don't follow that. And sometimes people say, oh, I don't want to be a Catholic, or I don't want to be a Muslim, I don't want to be a Jehovah's Witness, because there's some other things about that. So I don't feel that religion is that universal, because never is it going to happen that everyone in the world, I don't think it's ever going to happen that everyone in the world is one religion. They're not all going to worship the God as defined by that religion, especially because the religions that I've been associated with, the religions that I've studied, the religions that I've joined, including the ones that I've heard about, they define God for you. They have a legend about the God, or they have some story about the God, or they have some holy books and things like that where they say, hey, our God is the one true God, and here's how we can prove that. The odd thing is that there are billions of people that don't believe that, and there are billions of people that do believe that, and there's kind of a split, right? So the reason that I believe in love is universal. And when I came across the idea of love, it took me many years of traveling, observing, experiencing different religions to see the common denominator. And people say that love's all, God is love, and everyone worships the same God, so it doesn't really matter. But if you see the things that people do in the name of God, you would wonder, But I don't know if anybody's ever started a war based on the idea of love. In holy books, their God is a murderer. The God feels that justice needs to be done against the non-believers, the infidels. And in the holy books, their God sets an example of murdering. And I don't so much believe in murdering. Now, okay, so when we talk about unconditional love, Hussam, unconditional love has a lot of definitions. A lot of people don't really understand what unconditional love is. And unconditional love, the general concept, right, is I don't care what you do, I'm still going to love you. And they talk about this with kids. And I've seen a discussion where somebody said, look, if the kid's a real troublemaker, if the kid's a bad kid, you're not going to love the kid, because there have to be limits on love. So people have different ideas about unconditional love. I don't subscribe to the idea, this concept. There's a couple of concepts that are extremely misleading, that take people off the wrong course because they really don't understand the love that I understand. And these two concepts are unconditional love and tough love. Well, when it comes to unconditional love, love itself has no conditions. Love itself is the foundation of the universe. Love itself is what everything is made of. And there's chaos and there's confusion. And when we focus on love, we bring things into order. We bring order out of chaos. We bring peace. We bring compassion. We bring respect. We bring kindness. These are the qualities of love. And we can focus on that. We can choose to focus on that, or we can choose to focus on the opposite. But the beautiful thing about love is when we focus on love, it makes our lives better. It brings us happiness. And love, I see as the foundation. The foundation, if you want to call it a philosophy, you can. But I've been able to find 66 qualities so far of what love is. And so We are conditional about love, or we would be perfect. So we're not able to apply love completely. We're trying, we're learning, and that's what our job is here on earth. Our job, in my opinion, is to learn to love better, to improve our ability to love more, to see the times that we get angry, we get frustrated, we get tired, we lose our patience, we don't really understand how to deal with the situation. So a lot of iconic concepts have been made up about how different entities, theological entities, are there to forgive us, to guide us, to punish us when we're bad. They talk about the hereafter, things like that. In my opinion, from my experience, that can be really misleading, and it can be really confusing, and it can take someone off the course of saying, how can I be compassionate today? How can I be generous? How can I be respectful? How can I be kind? Are there any of these qualities that you think are wrong? I'll tell you one thing. I don't think murder and punishment, I don't think the penal system in general has anything to do with love. I think it's more at the other end of the scale. I think it's loveless to abandon someone. You know, this idea about no answer is an answer. No, it isn't. That's why there's the word no in front of it. It's like no ketchup isn't ketchup on your hot dog. No ketchup means zero. So no answer means not an answer. No answer is not answering someone. And if we're compassionate, if we're kind, if we're respectful, we're going to give that person an answer. And the answer could be something like, look, I really feel like you're bothering me. I really feel uncomfortable with your questions. I really feel like what you're demanding from me is something I don't want to give. And I wish you the best, but this is really what you're asking for me I can't give you. I'm not interested in giving you. There's an answer. And that could inform the person. And the person could come back, they could say, look, you're a dirty, rotten scoundrel. Or they could come back and say, wow, thanks for letting me know that. I didn't know. But when we block the communication completely, that's not love, because love is communication. Love is compassion. And with this foundation of love, I shared a link to a book, a free book that I wrote. And if you click on that, you don't have to give you don't have to go to password, or you don't have to give your email or anything like that. You don't have to pay any money. You can just click on that. And this book is not in a great format right now. I need to improve the format so it looks more professional. But it does share the ideas about love. And it does give you something where you can say, no, I disagree with this. I don't think this is. Or no, okay, I didn't understand that. Now I understand something more about love. But the reason love can give us a better life is it's universal truth. It's a thing that everyone can agree on, everyone can feel comfortable with. And instead of studying a holy book that talks about wars of God's chosen people or other malarkey like that, thousands of years old, love is here, love is right now, and love is always changing. There's always a way that love is changing. Because love is kind of like breath, right? You breathe and it's gone. That one breath is gone, and then there's a new breath. There's another heartbeat. So love is like that. It's always renewing. So in every situation, in every moment to moment in life, there's a new chance to love in a new way. And we say, okay, last time I did this time I want to do this. I think this could be better. To show more compassion, I could show respect in this way. And by the way, loving others and loving ourselves is the same thing. If you know how to love, you know how to love. And that could be applied to anything. It could be applied to yourself, your body, your mind, your emotions. It could be applied to a puppy. It could be applied to your mate, your wife or husband. It could be applied to your school. It could be applied to a tree. So once you understand what compassion and respect and kindness and these other of the 66 qualities of love, once you understand what those are and you bring those into your life, then you're in the love zone. And if you can continue, which I certainly cannot always be in the love zone, but I'm learning and I'm getting more and more better at it as I practice. When you're in the love zone, it means that you're putting love first, you're love-centered. So any stimulus from the outside, you get a phone call, someone yells at you, there's a dog barking, you have to go to work, you have to drive the car, you're stuck in traffic, you have to eat lunch, whatever it is, if you're in the love zone, You're doing what you're doing with an awareness, a consciousness of love. You know about love and you're applying love in your life. You're applying love in your world, and it's a right now thing. If you've ever meditated, I meditate every day about 15 minutes. And when I meditate, I think about having faith in love. And I think about, maybe I have a guardian angel. Maybe love has some personages, or maybe love has some expressions that we could equate. This is one of the reasons why people have so much faith, such strong belief in their God, like a Jesus or Allah or maybe Buddha. They iconize, they really respect these icons. And sometimes it can help us to focus on, okay, how can I be in touch with love in my own heart? What is the guidance that I can get? And I focus on having faith. I focus on having faith in love, trusting love, letting go of the things that worry me, things that come up and worry us every day. Right now I'm getting ready to move to another place, a new home. And so there's some stress around that, around getting the money together and finding the right place, and then the logistics of moving, handling moving out of my old place and the logistics around that. My neighbors and my commitment to the neighborhood. We have a community center here, and we're involved with the children. So how are we going to live in another place and still be helping the children here? So these things come up, and these are things in my mind every day. How am I going to handle this and handle that? And when I have faith in love, it's like, let go and let love. And you know that you can count on this as a foundation for everything that comes up in the world. I remember when I was Jehovah's Witness, when I was a Catholic, when I was studying to be a born-again Christian, the idea was that the Bible had every answer for everything all the time. I didn't see that. But I see that love is so much more complete than any holy book that I've seen and studied. Because once you understand what love is, once you have that foundation of love, then you know what to do. How can I be compassionate? Not only to this person in front of me, but how can I be compassionate to myself at the same time? What's the compassionate solution? What's the respectful thing to do? What's the nurturing thing to do? One of the key qualities of love is nurturing, and that's empowering. Empowering ourselves, giving ourselves the right nutrition and education and possibilities and opportunities that we can have, but also giving those to the people around us. So if we have this as a foundation, how can we nurture? I've been in cultures, I've been in societies where it's the absolute opposite, because they're money-centered. They're not love-centered. Most people that I've met, most cultures that I've been in, it's a money-centered world. People believe in money because they've got to put food on the table. They've got to pay their rent. And this is really a misleading thing, and it's really confusing. And it sucks and drains the potential of love from the world, because instead of going the love direction, people go the money direction. If they have a choice, am I going to help somebody or not? Because there's this concept of scarcity. I don't have enough money to help that guy. I don't have room in my house to take someone in. I don't have time in my day to help build a home for someone, or to work in a food line, or bake some, work in the garden or bake some bread for somebody. I don't have time for that because I'm under pressure to earn money for my family. So when we really have this foundation of love, as opposed to a foundation in some religion that has a lot of ideas that maybe can apply, that maybe can be loving, maybe these ideas from the religion are not so loving. I think especially what really stands out from a lot of religions that I've seen is murder. Murder by God, punishment by God. Love isn't about punishment. Love is not about tough love. What is tough love? Tough love sometimes can be an excuse just to be rude, to be cold, to abandon somebody, and they're going to learn, right? That's not our job. Our job is to keep our hearts open all the time, and always communicate, and always support, and always nurture, and always communicate as best as we can. And when we know how to love, we have an absolutely clear conscience because we know that we're doing the best we can. But if we make a mistake and we're out of the love zone and we're frustrated, we're angry, we're tired, we lose our patience, something like that, and we treat someone with less than love, less than the best love that we can give, we don't feel good about it, do we? And it goes around and around in our minds. And we try to grab this idea or that idea. Well, how are you supposed to handle it when the baby's crying? How are you supposed to handle it when somebody at work takes that promotion? How are you supposed to handle that in traffic when somebody cuts you off? How are you supposed to handle it when you're in line and someone cuts in line? Or someone makes a mistake, they burn your eggs, at the restaurant. How are you supposed to handle that? Well, if you use love as a model, you don't need any holy books. You don't need any gods because love is God. And what is love? Be compassionate about it. Say, oh, I'm really sorry, but the eggs seem like the eggs are cooked, too much for my liking. I don't know. Is it possible that we can change that? And I'm sorry to bother you, and you say it in a polite way, in a respectful way. What I've done in the past, hey, these eggs are burnt. You expect me to eat this? I've done that. This is why I believe in love so much, because I've said things and I've done things in my life, and I still do. Hopefully less and less. I'm learning to be a more compassionate person, a kinder person, a person who doesn't get so upset. But I've done things in the past that have been really not in the love zone at all. And it's because I can see this contrast in my own behavior. I can see the results I've gotten in my own life. Not only how I affect other people, not only the impact that it has on their day, their world, the restaurant, for example, the mood there, but also me. When I leave the restaurant, I take that with me and I think, there was something wrong about that confrontation, and I didn't need any framework from any religion to tell me that. You know in your heart because love is in your heart. All of the information you need is inside of you already. You don't need to study any books. It's learning how to get in touch with that. Wow. If I was that waitress, what would have been a way that I would have wanted to hear that? What could brighten her day? What can I do that would be a kind and generous and sensitive? Love is sensitive. Love is conscious. Love is aware of what's going on. So by no means am I really, really great at this at all. I'm a student, and I feel like we're all equals. Some of us are more effective at being in the love zone more of the time, and we have our own challenges, and some of us are not so effective at the love zone. We don't understand what love is, and we think that the world is dog eat dog. We think that the universe is not kind. But what did Einstein say? And he was a pretty smart guy, I think. He figured out a lot of really cool things. One thing that Einstein said is, the one question you've got to ask, is the universe kind? That's having faith in love. If you say, yes, the universe is kind. This is a kind place. Love is everywhere. And I'm going to focus on that. And I'm going to use that in my life to have a better life and to have a better world. When we have love in our hearts, when we focus on love and being loving and being compassionate, being kind, being respectful, when we focus on that, we have more happiness ourselves. It's absolutely been transformational in my life. There's no question about it. And there's no confusion about how should I behave. Sometimes I don't behave the way I want to. I get out of the love zone and I totally forget. And I do something that's really not very polite. I don't treat myself very well. I don't treat others very well. That happens. I step out of the love zone. And then later on, or right at the moment, or shortly after, I say, wow, I don't feel very good. I feel crummy about what happened. I don't feel good about what happened. I know why. Because I wasn't in the love zone. What I did was not compassionate. It wasn't kind. It wasn't sensitive. It wasn't considerate to either myself or others or both. So we have this foundation of love. We have this confidence. We always know how to behave. We always know what to do. And it gives us, when we look at situations that in this world are very polarizing, People flip out about these things, and people say, oh, we have to have a law for everybody. Love isn't like that. Love doesn't make laws. Love is flexible, right? Like I said, it's like a breath, it's like a heartbeat. It's always going, it's always changing, it's always evolving. Love isn't this simple one model. Love is the expression of the unexplainable, but we can see evidence of it. So if you have someone cut you off in traffic, for example, you can be loving about that. You can hit your brakes and you let them come in, and you don't honk your horn. You don't get angry. You don't hate yourself. You don't hate the world. You don't hate that driver, or just say, hey, I guess the guy, I don't know, maybe the guy didn't see me. Maybe the guy's in a hurry. Maybe that's just his habit, the way he drives, and he feels that he has the right to do that. Pull up next to him. There's 1,000 different ways that you could approach that with love. And maybe if it happens today, you'll approach it one way. Maybe if it happens tomorrow, same driver or a different driver, similar situation, you can approach it in another way if you want. In fact, if you're more kind and more loving, if you end up pulling up next to the guy, you could smile and wave and say, hey, have a great day, or something like that. Talk about the transformation. Talk about the feeling this guy's going to have if the guy knows he cuts you off, and he knows that that was the wrong thing to do. He knows that wasn't polite, that was a rude, that was a non-loving thing to do. But what do? You answer with love? Wow. What does this do to the world? There's nothing more powerful. There's absolutely nothing more powerful in the world than when you return inconsiderate behavior, rude behavior, anger, non-love with love. Somebody did that to me. If I cut somebody off because I was in a hurry, blah, 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 and then someone just was totally accepting. They accepted me for who I was. They accepted the situation for what it was. And they returned kindness and love to me. This is just a beautiful thing. And when we can do that, or when we experience that, are you aware of the power of love in a situation like that? Are you aware of the transformational power? Are you aware of how that changes the world? But if we stand on principle, we say, no, that's not right. You're breaking the rules, which is one of my weaknesses. I really believe in rules a lot, and I have to learn to let go all the time, and I'm learning and getting better at letting go and saying, wait, we don't have to follow this exact, okay, maybe if you look at the rules for driving, it's illegal to do that. But we're going to focus on that? And is that going to bring more love in the world? Is it going to make me feel good in my heart? And is it going to make that guy feel better? And is it going to bring more love to the world? No, it's not. Maybe sometimes you have to say, wow, I feel like that kind of, I was kind of hurt by that. At first I was kind of shocked, and I was a little bit frustrated with that. But now I understand it's okay. As human beings with emotions, we do feel frustrated. We do get angry. We are shocked by something. Wait, what is this behavior that you're doing? What is this thing that you're doing to me or doing to that person? And we'll get angry about it. But because we're sentient beings, because we have love in our hearts. Hi, James. Just getting ready to wrap up here. I'm just going to do about 30 minutes, so we got about 2 minutes left. But I love you, James. You're a wonderful guy. This is a guy, by the way, he's an evangelical Christian, but he's not like the evangelical Christians, so many that I know. He has so much love in his heart. Some of the evangelical Christians do, but some of them really believe, like I have some people very close to me that believe in tough love, and I don't believe that that's so much loving. But anyway, so when it comes to our behavior, we can make a choice. Do we want to have our foundation of life based upon love, or these principles of objective rules and the way things are supposed to be? What's the difference? Wow. The world becomes a much better place. And that doesn't mean we're not working towards an optimum world. But if we focus on love as a foundation, if we think about how can I be compassionate in this situation? How can I be kind? How can I be respectful? How can I be nurturing? How can I be empowering? How can I be someone who shows consideration for other people in this situation or regarding myself? If that's our foundation, if that's our reference, if that's how we live, and a lot of people that I've met, wow, they are so much better than me at that. They are so much better than I at really being kind. And it's been a challenge to me, but I think that's why I've really benefited so much from learning about love, understanding love, seeing the example that love can be, and what having a foundation of love can be in my life and in the world. So that's what Love Buddy's about. There's a link here, lovebuddy.com. There's a free ebook. There's the Love Buddy page on Facebook, and I'm going to share the video there too. You're welcome to like the page and then see there's daily postings and things like that. So this is a discussion, it's a conversation, and we're learning about love and we're sharing ideas, and I appreciate your feedback, and I appreciate your questions, I appreciate your challenges, and thank you so much for watching, thank you so much for listening, and thank you so much for being there, and have a wonderful day. I love you. This is Matthew.